SummerSlam is done, and you never saw this coming. No Nick today. You got two Ryans with you, Ryan Ross along with Ryan Slocum. And, wow, they weren't kidding. I never saw that coming. Ryan, Roman Reigns is back after missing everything since the pandemic started. Ryan,
including his WrestleMania main event. And now we are right back to where we were before Goldberg showed up. Bray Wyatt wins the championship. Roman comes out. I'll talk about it some more, but I want to get your thoughts right away, Ryan. I don't know if he's heel. I don't know if he's face. He had a shirt on that said wreck everything and leave, and he came out and wrecked everything and left. Said that Braun Strowman wasn't worth him, that he made Braun Strowman, smokes him with a chair 1,000 times. Then he gets in the ring and wipes out the brand new champion who's supposed to have his moment. The Fiend just lays him out, picks his belt up, which he never lost, by the way, and they go off the air. Ryan, man, what do you think about that finish?
I never saw it coming, Ryan. And literally, I never did. I had read that he was potentially close to coming back, but I did not read anything or hear anything that said he was going to be there. So that was a nice surprise. I liked the intensity and the aggression that he showed. That's something that I think we've all of us Roman fans and even people that don't like him have been calling for. Stop being the goody-goody.
Yep.
You know, you can still be a babyface and have that kind of aggression and intensity to your act.
Right.
And I hope that's a sign of things to come. I love that he left both guys laying, because I think this probably is going to lead to Braun teaming up with Bray or becoming part of Bray's whatever flock, whatever you want to call it. I kind of felt like that was where they were leading all along.
Right.
So that could lead to that result, and it would make a little bit more sense. But yeah, I loved it. I hated that match until we got to the actual payoff of Roman coming out, and he looks great.
Yeah, if you've seen him on his Instagram or whatnot, I mean, right. He's like on the Rock diet, man. He's been working out with his cousin. Yep. He not that he was not in good shape before, right. But my gosh, he looks a little massive leaner, now.
Yeah, he looks leaner, but stronger too.
He looks stronger, man.
Nice combination.
He looks good. Yeah, I actually somewhat liked this match, because I thought we were going to get all sorts of screwy stuff like we've been getting, like we got at Money in the Bank with the pig and the rambling rabbit and all this stuff coming down.
I don't know anything about that stuff.
Thank God. The swamp match, how goofy that was. I'm like, there's no way they're just going to have a normal match. And they did pretty much just have a normal match. So I was okay with it. Shocked at the finish. I didn't think it just finished that quick, but now we know why it did, because then here comes Roman Reigns really to take his spot back, maybe the spot that he hasn't really had since his cancer diagnosis. Because remember, when he came back,
he was kind of laying low.
Yeah, and then he's in a 6-month storyline with Baron Corbin, and then he finally gets his title shot again. That was kind of anticlimactic with Goldberg.
Do you think that was kind of? Do you think that was kind of done on purpose by them, because they finally started getting the cheers that they were looking for, because people actually felt sympathy for what he was going through in his real life, and they felt like if we turn around, this guy comes back a lot faster than anybody thought he would. If we put him right back at the top of the food chain, people are just going to start rejecting him again. I think that was kind of reticence on their part.
Yeah, and we don't know when he was going to be back. He came back so close to WrestleMania 35 that they already had everything plans in order and whatnot. They probably were like, well, we can't screw this up, even though if they were ever going to do that, that was the time. put the belt back on him. But
Yeah.
and the thing I noticed with this match, in this, we're talking about the main event. I was shocked that it was the last match. Also, now we know why it was the last match. I was shocked that this was going to be the last match. I thought this was a theme throughout the show, and tell me if I'm crazy.
Look at you, giant idiot.
I don't know if it's the AEW effect. I don't know what it is, but every single one of these matches tonight, with the exception of the Dominic Seth match, were nothing but high impact. Bang, bang, bang moves. Move after move after move after move. Almost nonstop. I thought the previous match, the Drew Randy Orton match, which we can get into right now, which I thought was another very good match, just nonstop, fast pace moves. So I don't know if they're picking their style up here, if they're going to a more attitude era, high impact move style, the way they used to do it. That I felt this whole show was like that, the women's matches included, except for the Rey Mysterio or Dominic Mysterio match.
Well, I thought there was some pretty good high impact stuff with the Mysterio Seth match too. We can get into that, when we get to that. But circling back to Bray and Braun real quick, the thing that I think I hated most about the match was all the kicking out of the finishers, which they do so much. And
I hate that.
And I didn't like the finish in the way that here's Braun. He gets a box cutter out of a toolbox.
Right.
He cuts up the ring and he's pulling the ring back and he has this grand plan, and then it gets used against him. Like,
right.
Just made yourself look like the dumbest man in the history of Earth, because it took him forever to do that, which, so like I'm watching that and I'm like, oh, that's why it went on last, because they were going to destroy the ring.
Right.
Well, I mean, and I kind of felt like Retribution was going to somehow get involved either post-match or finish, and that didn't happen. And obviously now we know why. But so that was one of the reasons why I didn't like the match. And it was just kind of slow and plodding otherwise. But, I mean, you kind of had to expect that, given, Braun and with his limitations. And obviously Bray's a guy that if he's going to work a more athletic style match, it's usually going to be against, a guy like Seth Rollins, somebody that's a little bit, faster and he that can bump for him. But so, I mean, if you're like a big man plotting, like brawling kind of match, and there was some good stuff in there, then I can understand why you might grade that a little bit higher than, somebody that tends to sway toward the athletic style a little bit more.
Well, to me, like, I didn't think it was a 5-star classic or anything.
Right.
I didn't think it was bad. But I was expecting something crazy. I was expecting some kind of swamp match, BS, who knows what the heck crap and I didn't get that. So I was okay with that. Weird finish. Well, speaking of weird finish, let's go one step back to the other main event, the other world title match. Drew against Randy Orton. Thought this was another good match. It goes 21 minutes. And remember that. We're going to get back to that in a little bit. Did not seem like 21 minutes whatsoever. It starts out with a bang as well. Kind of like I was saying. Lots of big moves right away. Announce table spots right at the beginning. Good action, hard-hitting style the whole way. We got Drew McIntyre's eye gets pulled when Randy is in the figure 4. He already had cut his head, so you saw a little blood there already. Mm-hmm. Whatever. So that was kind of a spot there. Drew did some cool stuff, hanging upside down in the corner, and then he lifts up, flips Randy over his top. I haven't seen that from big guys
when he was
before.
in the tree of woe. Yeah, that was good. That was
in the corner in the tree of woe. I thought that was I've got it written down as that, and I'm like, is that what it is? I don't want to sound stupid. Yeah, he's in the tree of woe. And I've never seen a big guy do that. That's like some lucha stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Good lucha thing.
Again, real cool stuff, but then it ends in a backslide.
Yes.
Now, did they do that because then Cole just kept yelling, or whoever was announcing, "You never see it coming. You'll never see it coming." Like we were supposed to expect that was the never see coming.
I hope not. I hope that's not their logic point.
Yeah, because I was still expecting Retribution, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, or something in the last match to happen. And I didn't like that finish. I mean, I guess it's cool that You don't
It
always
keeps
have
it
to
going,
win.
probably. I mean,
That's another big question.
but this is the way I was looking at it until the announcers said what they said. With their whole theme of you're never going to see it coming. The whole match, he's going for his finisher, and Drew was going for his. So he catches him kind of by surprise.
Right.
But I haven't seen a backslide finish a match, especially like a world title match.
Not a world title
Since
match.
I was watching like world championship wrestling from Atlanta, Georgia in 1988 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that from that from that angle, yeah, it was definitely, I didn't see that coming. I can't say that I was thrilled with it. I think it downgraded the match a little bit for me. They could have probably got a little bit more creative to keep that going. I thought Randy was going to walk out with the title. I mean, that was what my thinking going in, and then Drew would chase, maybe all the way to WrestleMania so he could get his like fan moment, assuming fans are back by then, which is a big assumption. Probably
that's a long time away too.
It is. I want to kind of ask for your opinion on this whole Thunderdome thing, because I know you're a guy that's and myself too. Like, I haven't been a big fan of the presentation since the pandemic, but also their hands are a little tied. It's been more the booking than anything else. But I just kind of, because I didn't get to see SmackDown on Friday, so this was my first foray.
I will tell you in a second. Let me answer what you were just saying, though, talking about the finish. And I'm with you on the finish because that's what I kept saying this entire time. Well, where do they go now? Okay, Drew in 4 months' time has already ripped through the entire roster. He's gone through everybody. So that's why a lot of people were thinking, maybe he's going to lose, because who does he fight? So now he has to chase. Maybe this gets him to at least Survivor Series. I think that's probably why they did it with that finish, because Randy can just say, okay, I got caught.
You blew it!
That way, I don't know if they'll fight at the next pay-per-view, which is freaking tomorrow all of a sudden already.
Yeah, what's that about?
I'm not sure. So we've got that. So I don't know if they'll fight again at that, but this probably does keep that feud going because he has nobody else to fight. Now, Triple H did accidentally, I believe, leak during his conference call earlier this week that there's going to be a draft. And I don't think he meant to do that, but he said, hey, we're going to have a draft or whatever. So maybe they're going to move some guys. He didn't say. I think he was just talking, and then he happened to go, well, and some of that can change when the draft's coming up. And everybody was like, huh? What? And that, that was the end of that. But
AJ can go back to Raw now that Heyman's gone, right?
Maybe, and they took the title off him too. That at SmackDown Friday. So
that was strange.
Very strange.
Why didn't they do that on the pay-per-view? I mean, did they just feel like they couldn't?
I think it's because of ratings. These shows are shorter now. This show came in right at 3 hours.
I was surprised by that.
They're shorter, and the ratings are so bad. They're putting a lot of these big matches. They're pulling them off the pay-per-views and putting them on the regular shows to try to get.
Styles and Hardy was supposed to be on SummerSlam, and then they moved it. Or?
I don't know if that was specifically, but there have been many lately that they have moved off the pay-per-views and put them on Friday or Monday. Anyway, I think that probably answers that question, that we're going to get those guys fighting again because of that finish. Because Drew has nobody else to fight. I mean, he really doesn't. So they'll get another couple of months out of Randy. As for the Thunderdome, I didn't really know what to expect coming in. I didn't expect a ton. I figured it would obviously look better to an extent. Today was a lot better than Friday. The audio was much better. Friday, it was just kind of all over the place and way too loud sometimes. Thought it was way better today. The first thing I noticed right out of the gate on Friday, and they even stopped doing it within a half hour on Friday, is the hard cam, wide shot. If you ever go to an event, they have two cameras in the center. They have one that shoots wider and then one that shoots tighter in the hard cam position. They are not taking that wider shot at all because the background with all the different colors of the people back there, the different squares. If you watch an NBA game, you see that the background is all uniform. It's obviously not all uniform here. And when they take that hard cam shot straight on, it's like gives you epilepsy. It's just too much going on. They don't take that shot at all. If you see it, it's for a snap second, and then they cut. I think the thing looks really good on that lower angle shot in the corners or on the floor where you can see in the background the people. I think that looks really cool. I think they did a great job with that. The entrance just looks like Raw and SmackDown, which it's supposed to, and it looks good. I thought it was much better today than the first day. In the end, though, it's still fake fans. It's still fake fans to me, and it will still continue to be fake fans. But it is better. It is better. So, I mean, they're doing what they can. I'm not mad at them. That static hard cam shot's awful, though. But, they're not using it. Okay. What do you think since you didn't see it Friday?
Yeah, I thought the number of LEDs were a little bit distracting at times, especially Bray, but his is always that way.
Right.
But, I mean, I liked it. I like the fact that they're able to get back in the arena setting. It gives the guys and gals more room to work, especially around the ring.
Yep.
And you saw that there was a lot of outside the ring spots tonight. That power bomb, sunset flip power bomb that Asuka took,
That's awesome.
Whew, man, I hope she's okay.
She smoked her head. You saw it on the replay.
She did. But I mean, you saw a lot of that kind of stuff that you just can't see or you couldn't do inside the performance center because it was just so tight around the ring.
Right.
I think it was definitely an upgrade and innovative on their part. They've always been good in the production setting and the lighting setting. I thought the sound was good. I heard that the sound was a little bit off kilter. They probably did that to kind of do a test case.
Sure.
A, they wanted to try to pop a rating with it, and then B, test it out for
big time
for the pay-per-view, and they made the adjustments that they needed to make, obviously. So I thought they did a pretty good job with the sound. So all in all, I'd say it's an improvement, but obviously it's in the end it's lipstick on a pig because the big issue is not the fans.
It's still not fans
booking.
Well, that's the other thing. That's definitely the other thing. All the LED boards don't fix bad storylines.
No, they do not.
Anything else on the 2 title matches? If not, dude, let's jump right back to the beginning of the show.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, we start at the beginning. Asuka's fighting twice. You got to figure she's going to win one of these 2 matches. She's in the first one. It is with Bayley because of what happened on Friday, where they had the beat the clock challenge and Bayley got pinned, so she had to fight first. Bayley, I'm not surprised that she won this. I kind of thought she wouldn't, but she's been pinned so many times lately, including Friday, which that made me think she was going to win this match because she just got pinned again on Friday. So, good match. Didn't expect anything less, nothing excellent. Bayley wins, as we said. Kind of the same thing they did the other night, where the first person won and then the second person ended up losing. Kind of reverse of what you might think between Bayley and Sasha. And again, I just took away from, more 50-50 here. She lost Friday. She's got to get her win back Monday. And again, or win back tonight. And again, this is going to pay off more later. What do you think of that one there, Ryan?
Yeah, I think they kind of tipped their hand because if Asuka lost both matches, where do you go from here with her? I mean,
and,
and
they've been teasing the Bayley Sasha breakup for 2 years now. So
I thought it started in like 2014.
Well, it might,
they might not have been on the roster. It's been forever though. It's been a long time.
Been at least 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And so and this is the whole heel thing with Bayley is still pretty new for her because she never played this character in NXT and in the early, portions of her WWE time. So
Right.
I think when they eventually get to the split, which I think everybody can agree that tonight kind of is the first like big step toward that. They're
Right.
supposed to defend their tag titles next week, I guess. I don't even know against who.
At the
So
pay-per-view.
that's probably going to be the next step. But I think Sasha's probably going to be the baby face coming out of this, my guess. And I don't think he can go heel, and I don't think he can turn Bayley back yet. I mean,
Right.
this has probably been her biggest success on the main roster as a heel. I don't particularly think she's that great of a heel. From what I've seen from her, she's definitely better than she was
Right.
with the underdog babyface, but they didn't tell that story the way it's told in NXT
No.
anyway. So they
Right.
kind of blew it. I mean, she got the belt like 5 months into her run, I think, if even that long. So
They didn't tell it at all. They just went, here's Bayley. And
Yeah,
they
and
expected
she's
everybody to
Yeah.
have watched NXT and
they
already
do
knew
that
the
a
story.
lot too. They have
They
to
do it
know
all
that
the time.
they have to know that there's a lot of people, us included, that don't really watch NXT. I'll
No.
watch it once in a while, but for the most part, I don't watch it.
Well, we talked about it on our one show of what's wrong with the company as a whole. And you think about it. Now, I know they got 800,000 viewers because they were unopposed the other day, but they're rolling around 5 and 7 and that's on network television. So,
Right.
not that many people were watching on the WWE network. So you're talking about maybe a couple 100,000 people of your then when they came up 3+ million a week watching. Only a couple 100,000 knew that story.
Right. And
That's it,
the,
man.
and the
that's
target
problem with-
demographic number is even lower than that. I think it's mostly like older guys like us probably that are watching it.
That's who's watching. Yeah, they want it to be, 18 to 40, 54, but it's old dudes watching. It's 50 plus. And anyway, that's the problem with NXT. But yeah, I think you're right. And then they played that out later. And let's just jump to that because it's the same storyline. A couple of matches later, you got your Sasha Asuka match. I thought this match was great.
Really good. It was better than the Bayley match, and credit to Asuka for taking that power bomb spot, and B for being able to come back out an hour later and
do it again
and have a better match. And I think Sasha and Bayley are both very credible in-ring performers, as is Asuka, obviously. I think Sasha's a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
Although she scares the crap out of me sometimes because some of the risks she takes in the ring and her, her frame is such that when she takes crazy bumps, it's like you just cringe every time.
Yeah, because she tries to do so much. And she tries to take Michael's bumps and tries to take Dolph bumps. And, man, sometimes you're like, ooh. But, it was Asuka in this one taking the nasty bumps. Yeah. But, coming into this, I have been so as good as they are, and I've said this on previous shows, they are very good together, and they're getting better week by week. Actually, they're better this week than they were a month ago and a month before that. But they're on both shows, and they're on numerous segments of both shows, and they fight Asuka week after week after week, and it's like I don't want to see you fight each other anymore. That's what I was saying. And then this match started, and I'm like, this is the match of the night. Like, wow. All right, really you got me. You got me.
I love the constant submission reversals towards the end. That was really good stuff.
Yeah. They got me, dude. You mentioned the power bomb. That was great. This was another one of those matches that was just seemed like go, 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 spot after spot. And they were still selling. Lots of hard-hitting stuff. It finishes similarly to the way the Bayley match finished. Sasha got up on the apron. Asuka ran into her, took one for the team. Bayley wins the match. Same exact finish here. Asuka comes at her. Bayley wouldn't take one for the team. She jumps out of the way. Asuka doesn't get hit. Asuka then puts her in the Asuka lock. Sasha has to tap. So now, there we go. Now our friction starts. Next week, they're probably going to lose their tag belts. Friction's going to keep going, and we'll see where that ends up.
It's really good storytelling by the ladies too. Just the facials, the look that Sasha gave Bayley when Bayley came into the ring to sort of explain her, why she didn't take one for the team, as you said.
Absolutely, man. And when this ended, I mean, to this point, this was before the two guys' world title matches, and I think the Drew Orton match was good, but the last thing I have written here is match of the night, Sasha Asuka. I thought that was a very good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I had it second behind Orton and McIntyre. I think you might have liked it a little bit better than I did, but it was a really, really good match. It was a really physical match. I wanted to say real quick, as far as the overexposure, I think part of the problem is they just don't have enough ladies that are over on the roster right now. You have Charlotte out. She was overexposed before she got hurt.
Yeah.
Becky left, for all the Ronda haters, yourself included. Her leaving was a hit.
Right.
Shayna Baszler hasn't really been presented as a star the way she was on NXT.
No.
It looks like they're trying to hit the reset button with her. I don't know if
hitting the reset starting this week.
I don't know if it's going to work as a babyface. She's a really good heel. I don't know why they don't just give her an opportunity to.
Right.
But we'll see. I don't know. Nia Jax really weighs the division down. She's just not good.
Well, and they're starting her back up now again too, making her a killer. She showed back up.
But I mean,
they're trying.
They're trying. They got some acts that are just kind of like the Iconics, the Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. Just a lot of. They're just kind of there. They're either comedy or they're filler or they're.
Well, and they're trying. The one good thing with them is that they've got these ladies tag titles, and they didn't have any tag teams for the longest time. So now with the two you just mentioned, obviously, they put Liv and Ruby back together because they had nothing for either of them.
Right.
So they're like, well, we need tag teams, so put them together. Yeah, that's part of it. And the pandemic hasn't helped either. I mean, they've had to change storylines left and right because all of a sudden somebody gets sick and, okay, well, crap. Now we gotta do something else here. So let's jump right back into what we were talking about. The, you just mentioned the girls matches. So one of the girls, and I feel real bad for her, man, is Sonia Deville. I think that girl's great. I really do. Good. She is, me, I'm more of a mic charismatic guy than a in-ring ability guy, even though, I want in-ring ability. Mm-hmm. But man, this girl can talk, and we had no clue she could do anything. I don't think she even came within 10 feet of a microphone until this angle started with Mandy. And every one of her promos is better than the last. And that one was good. And then here's a real good one. Then here's a great one. And then here's a, oh my gosh one. Like, this girl is awesome on the mic, man. And I feel so bad for her, obviously, because of what happened to her last week with the break-in in her house. I assume that's why she's leaving.
Right. Because they changed the match stipulation.
Right.
The go-home show after, news broke that had happened to her. And I assume she's going to be taking some time off to try to, get this sorted out.
There's going to be court things. There are going to be all sorts of things. She's going to, I assume, take care of that. It's supposed to be a hair match. Now, all of a sudden, it's a loser leaves town match. Anyway, I just feel terrible for her because, man, she is the unsung hero. She is the breakout star of the pandemic here. Out of anybody who was a nobody before and is now, I want to see you fight, she's number one. I love her. And so this is it. She fights Mandy. Not the greatest match in the world. It wasn't fantastic, a little sloppy, wasn't terrible, but Mandy wins, Sonia's out. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, same as you. It wasn't great. It was better than I thought, probably, but I didn't have a lot of expectations going in. I'm interested to know, and we probably never will, but what would have been a live audience reaction to this feud as a whole? Because I really think, especially for people that were around when Mandy sort of had her break in on Tough Enough, you remember, I don't know if you watched, she was such a bitch. I'm sorry. she was really hard to root for, and she sort of played that character when she came in, right? And now, I haven't watched SmackDown in 6 months, but I've been reading along and watching clips here and there, and the whole thing with Otis I don't think it works. I don't think it's real believable. But I mean,
it's
I guess
classic WWE, man. It's classic. Oh, let's get the goofy fat guy and put him with the pretty girl. Wow, that'll be hilarious.
And everyone will expect the girl to eventually turn on him in the end, but we're not going to do that, Ha ha! Look, we got him. Never see it coming.
Yeah. Well, some of it, I will admit, when it first started, I was like, "What? No." They have done one or two things that I'm like, "All right, that's kind of funny," but no, I really have no interest. And you bring up a great point, because Mandy's whole, like, it's kind of like the Hogan Savage, like, who's the heel here? Because her whole thing is, it's hard. Her whole story is, it's hard being pretty. Like, that's like, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. Like,
who's gonna identify with that?
Right.
Like,
pretty people.
I mean, I'm gonna use a Seinfeld, expression here, but 95% of the world is undateable.
Undateable.
How are all these people getting together?
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Right.
The biggest thing to me coming out of this match is Otis came out. And a lot of people were wondering, with the you'll never see it coming, and you haven't seen Otis for a while or too much, or you haven't seen that briefcase. Not only did he come to the ring to celebrate afterwards, he came to the ring with his briefcase. That right there told me, well, he ain't cashing in tonight. There's no way in heck he's cashing in tonight, because whenever they do that, it's always a surprise. Like, something happens, they make you forget about the briefcase guy, and then briefcase guy shows up. And he has not been really involved in anything other than protecting her. So to see that briefcase, that told me, well, that's not the surprise tonight then. Yeah, so second match of the night, let's jump backwards again. We're jumping all over the place.
Hey,
there's literally nothing to say about this. Tag title match, Street Profits, Andrade and Garza. How these guys ever got a tag title match, I have no idea. They've never won a match. They never win, singles or tag. They don't win crap. Their girl poisoned Ford, I guess, and that's why they're fighting. But they job again. They job quickly. This was another match. There was a lot of bang, 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 bang. The only takeaways for me, Ryan, are Street Profits look like giant Christmas trees, and Ford is awesome, man. He was sweet. He had some great moves, man. He had that spring up into the Hurricane Rana in the corner, and then the finish was sweet.
He was,
I don't know if it's a
18
frog
feet
splash.
in the air.
He was freaking Elon Musk rocket, dude. He was up there, man. And then does the spin, hits. He was sweet. But other than that, get those other two clowns out of here, man. Those guys suck, man. They gotta go. Or they gotta do
really
something. And Zelina's great. Zelina's awesome, man. She's another one, can talk as good as anybody on earth, but those two guys.
Well, I wish they could have established the Zelina and Andrade pairing early on, long before Garza came along. And like you've always said, tell us something about the guy.
Anything.
Because he's a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Oh, he can work.
And
Garza can work
he can't speak much English, so that's what Zelina's for. And she's a great talker.
Great.
And a great performer all around. I mean, she's amazing.
Yeah, she can work too.
Yeah. For as limited amount of matches they put her in, she holds her own when they do put her in there. So I don't get the whole pairing with Garza. He kind of does his own thing, thinking he's Rico Suave out there. And
well, they do the same thing every week. They're
always bickering. Yeah. And like you said, they never win.
But they never really fight either. That's the other thing. They're like, oh, there's dissension. When? You never see them like fighting or anything.
Right. If there's dissension, then have them fight. I mean, and break them up and go.
Right.
go another way with them,
Be done with it.
Right. As far as the Street Profits, the act itself, it doesn't do anything for me. It's not for me, but I don't think that it's aimed at my generation.
Right.
So, I mean, I'll give them credit. They have good chemistry. They're good at what they do.
Yeah.
And like you said, Montez Ford is a freak athlete, maybe the best athlete on the roster, or any roster for that matter.
Yeah, he's sweet.
So, I mean, the match itself, it didn't surprise me. I was expecting them to go over. It's like you said, why are they even fighting? I feel like they've already beaten them like 100 times.
Everybody is. You and me are going to beat them next week.
But the tag division in both shows is just so weak. I really feel like if they're going to do this roster split, which they've been doing forever, so obviously they're going to do it. I feel like the champions, you need to take however many belts there are and cut it in half, and then the champions need to be able to float.
Yeah. Well, the girls do. So do it with the guys.
Do it with the tag teams. Do it with the guys. Do it with the mid-card title, and have contender matches. I mean, that's what you use your TV for.
Yep.
I mean, it's just there's too many titles, and for a tag division that's just really lacking.
Right.
I mean, you look at AEW, and you can say what you want about the way they do their tag matches, which is it's a little unbelievable at many times, but they have a lot of very good established tag teams, and
sure,
so they have that. WWE doesn't have that. I mean, you have the Profits, you have
the Viking Raiders,
you have the Profits.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's it. Like off the top of my head, that's all I can name.
Right.
Andrade and Garza.
And aren't the Viking Raiders like doing the whole Raw Underground thing now? I mean, are they even still a tag team?
Ziggler. They're fighting Ziggler on Raw Underground, which
that's okay.
Yeah, that's another thing for another day. It's going to be Raw Thunderground, I believe, from now on. Yeah.
Oh my.
Anything else on that one? I got nothing else.
Yeah, it was a match.
So the last match we have not talked about, which probably was the most talked about match up until Roman showed up at the end of the night, and it is the Dominic against Seth. Dominic Mysterio, Dominic fighting for the honor of the Mysterio name and his dad. Seth Rollins ripped out both of his eyeballs, and somehow he's fine. So Dominic, in his very first wrestling match ever, is going to fight the 5-time former world champion. And somehow, Ryan, how long did you say this match went?
22 minutes, 36 seconds.
22 minutes, 36 seconds. The Drew Orton match went 21 minutes. Seemed like 10. This match goes a minute and a half longer. It seemed like an hour and a half longer. I know I'm in the minority on this. Everybody online is praising Dominic in this match, up and down. I'll get into my thoughts in a second. But, Ryan, you liked this more than I did. I don't know if you liked it as much as the rest of the world. Everyone's praising Dominic for being the greatest thing ever. Your thoughts on this?
I'm not going to praise him for being the greatest thing ever, but I will say that he did impress me, and maybe I should have seen it coming given his lineage. And, I mean, you and I remember watching Rey Mysterio in 1996. I mean –
oh, he was bad, dude.
And people, especially if you're young and you weren't around for the Monday Night Wars, do yourself a favor. Go back and watch the Nitros and the WCW pay-per-views from 1996 and 1997. Halloween Havoc 97 against Eddie Guerrero.
Which Seth was wearing his outfit from that, by the way.
He was.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Go watch Halloween Havoc, Eddie Guerrero against Rey Mysterio Jr.
It's the opening match, if I remember right.
All-time classic match.
For the Cruiserweight title. Amazing.
And these dudes are better than everybody's talking about now. Oh, he did a this and a that. These guys were better at the same stuff 25 years ago.
Right.
They were better. Right. It was quicker, snappier.
Lucha thing.
It was awesome.
So I guess what impressed me about Dominic just was his movement for a guy his size, like you'd never know. Like my wife was watching in the background and didn't really believe that he was actually Ray's son.
Right.
She saw the end when he came out and hugged him. She's like, "Yeah, that's really his son." I'm like, "Actually, it is."
Yeah, because he's like a foot taller than.
Yeah. I'm like, "Well, he's got a mom too, and they got a family, so
Right.
Is Andre really your dad?
Mother Nature's a mad scientist, Jerry."
Yeah. His mom has to be like 6'7" because he's a taller kid.
Yeah, I love the Russian leg sweep spot on the top of through the table. That was sweet.
Good move.
Yeah, they had some good stuff. I didn't care for some of the Gaga toward the end with when they started trying to extract his eye again, and the mom came out, and it was a lot of distraction kind of stuff that kind of took me out of the moment a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, I thought it was a really good match. I didn't think it was a great match. I think, I gave it a B or a B plus. I can't remember. I enjoyed it. I really did. It exceeded my expectations. The absurdity of the storyline aside, I'm not a fan of this character that Seth Rollins has been playing. I thought it had early on, but I don't like the direction it's in now. And the whole thing with the eye thing with Ray and just it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Just with a capital R. But in a vacuum, I enjoyed the match. I thought Dominic did a great job. I thought Seth led him well. I loved the finish. I loved the visual of Ray being cuffed and Dominic kind of bent over and set up for the stomp, and Seth's kind of holding his head up and it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm interested to hear what you hated about it.
I didn't hate it.
Thing sucks.
It just it seemed like it went a long time. And I didn't like the start at all. This guy ripped your dad's eye out twice. And yes, I know you're a rookie, but this should have been even more reason. He ripped your dad's eye out. He beat you with a stick 500 times.
Crew of flunkies.
You should just jump this guy, especially since you're inexperienced. It's a street fight, and they're doing like collar and elbow tie-ups and side headlocks and all this stuff to start this match. And I'm like, this is stupid. He should be trying to murder this guy, and Seth is toying with him because he's more experienced. He knows the guy's going to come right at him. He's a rookie. He comes right at him too hard. He's trying too hard. He's in there doing wrestling moves and like collar and elbow tie-ups. I thought that was idiotic. It was too slow. This is not this kid's fault. But they debuted another guy last night who happens to be a professional athlete. He has very strong legs. He's a punter in the NFL. But after seeing Pat McAfee last night, there's no way this kid could live up to Pat McAfee. And you can say, well, he's a professional athlete, and Dominic's only 23 years old. Well, man, Dominic grew up with Rey Mysterio Jr. Dominic grew up in this. Dominic was fighting for his own custody 20 years ago at SummerSlam.
Summerfest.
And 15 years ago. He's been around this his whole life. Like, and after seeing McAfee and the stuff he was doing, like, Dominic didn't suck. He didn't do anything wrong. He was fine. But I don't get the whole, if you read the internet, you would think that Kenny Omega just fought in the Tokyo Dome.
I haven't seen any of the reactions. Is it really that positive?
Oh my gosh. And he's fine. He didn't do anything wrong. Like, it was fine, but pump the brakes a little bit here. This is not freaking Kenny Omega against Okada in the Dome. Mm-hmm. He was fine. He didn't do anything special. Like, I don't understand where this.
I almost soiled myself.
He was fine. At the same time, I know he was toying with Dominic the whole time. Seth was. Mm-hmm. He was toying with Dominic. he was never in trouble for the most. He maybe a spot or two, but he was never in trouble. But going 22 minutes with some rookie
That jabroni brown blood.
who looks like he's 16 years old. I didn't like that at all.
I thought maybe he would wear a mask tonight. Like, obviously we've already seen him, so maybe the impact isn't.
Yeah.
Isn't the
Well, and he
same,
had a hood on.
Yeah,
It kept flipping up at the beginning of the fight. Again, I didn't hate this. I wish it was at least 5 minutes shorter.
I can agree with that.
I don't know if just the whole angle itself. I don't know if I'm still mad because I thought the angle at SummerSlam 05 was stupid. Custody of Dominic. I don't know.
And the funny thing was they referenced it, but not in that way. Like he did the frog splash, and a tribute to his uncle Eddie. Well, as far as I remember from the storylines, Eddie was claiming to be his dad.
Didn't I think Seth yelled something at Ray about it too, or he yelled at? He's like, "Is that your dad or is Eddie?" I think he said something about it too, but
he said something. He was yelling at him the whole match. He's like, "What kind of dad are you to let this happen to your son?"
Right.
I think that's part of the storytelling too. Like, I don't want to pull this card, but I think maybe it plays better to parents because you can kind of immerse yourself in the moment. Like, what would you do if that was your kid?
Yeah.
Put in that kind of apparel,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is. I think that's fine. Again, I didn't hate it. I just like, are we done yet? It did. It felt. It was a minute.
You texted me and asked if I was still awake.
Yeah, I was just be done already. It felt like it was at least 10 minutes longer than the Orton Drew match, and it was a minute and a half longer. I mean, again, I'm not gonna kill Dominic. It's the dude's first freaking match, but don't tell me that I'm watching Tiger Mask.
Well, it's his first match on TV. I'm not convinced that that's the first time he's tangled up in the ring. He looked like he knew what he was doing in there.
Yeah, I'm not convinced he and his dad aren't rolling around in the backyard for the last 15 years.
What a great guy to learn from, though, huh?
Yeah. Oh, dude. For real. And he's a bigger guy. I was surprised we saw one like tornado DDT or something. I think we saw. I'm surprised we didn't see more lucha stuff out of him. I thought we might see a little bit more. But again, it's
that was by design, though. Maybe, or maybe he's trying to carve out his own niche, not wanting to just copy all of his dad's spots. It seemed like he was doing a lot of 619s in TV leading up to the match. I don't recall him trying that move during the match, but
he did. He at least connected with one right before the finish. He at least hit one.
I must have missed it.
He does it backwards, though. He does it like left-handed or left-footed.
So it's a 916.
Yeah, he's from
He's
from Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Shout out to Bismarck, North Dakota.
Yeah, booyaka. So let's wrap this sucker up. Okay. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think?
I'm going to go in the middle. I think there was enough good work on this show that you could at least I can accept the thumbs up. I just didn't like there was too much. What's the word I'm looking for? Too many kick out of finishers. Too many guys in the ring that I didn't care about to give it a full thumbs up. Mostly talking about the main event and the tag match. But I thought the women worked really well. Talking about Sasha, Asuka, and Bayley. Didn't care for the Mandy Rose, Sonia Deville match, but it was a little better than I thought. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a thumbs in the middle. Probably one of their better post-pandemic or during the pandemic efforts.
Yeah,
from what I gather.
I don't even know if I want to say in the middle, but I guess I will because once again, I thought the wrestling was great. Just like the last show with the swamp match and all that. Thought the wrestling was great. I thought it was one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen in my life. But the wrestling was good. The last one.
Oh.
Wrestling was great here. I thought the wrestling was fine. My problem here is, what do they do now? And you can, where do they go with any of this stuff? The Mandy Rose angle's done. So now what does she do? Just hang out with Otis? Drew, we're getting another Drew and Orton match. Who knows about the Fiend and Braun? Now Roman is here. We're going to see Sasha and Bayley again. And yes, hopefully it looks like we're going to finally get that paid off. But, dude, again, we've been thinking that for 2 years. I'm like,
we thought they were going to fight at WrestleMania.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I'm just like, oh, gosh. I think we're getting another Dominic Seth match or maybe a tag match now with Dominic and Ray against Murphy and maybe at the next pay-per-view. It's just like, all right, but
they didn't, other than the Roman return, they didn't leave you like really wanting more or asking that question. Right. Where's this going? And getting excited and with anticipation.
Well, and that's a big one. I mean, this is a big one. It's their main dude. Going back to Roman, we talked about it at the beginning, but we didn't really talk about it. Where do you think? Where does he go? Is he a heel? And here's the other thing. I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm going to throw it out there. Is he the leader of Retribution?
All right, I'm going to take that one first. No, I don't think that you can tie him to that.
Wreck everyone and leave.
Well, okay. If we're going to take I'm
just throwing it out there. I don't want it to happen.
No, that's fair. I just think that he's got to be a little bigger than that. I mean, I don't think
he is bigger because all of them are about this tall.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah,
because I don't think they've presented that as a main event thing. It's sort of a semi-main event kind of story.
I hope so.
You know, I mean, to me, I was thinking going into it, like maybe they'll have a reveal and it will be CM Punk is the guy that's kind of coordinating it. That would be the only way you can make that big, in my opinion. And I guess Roman would make it big, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense.
I don't think he wants to attach himself to that CM Punk.
So I think that's a definitive no. As far as a heel, I think he's still going to be presented as a babyface, but what my hope is that, and I'm fine with that, my hope is that he's just got a little bit more of an edge like we saw tonight.
Yes.
I think it makes sense to go heel with Braun because Braun is a terrible babyface. I think Braun is a terrible professional wrestler, but I mean, if you're going to make him this monster, make him a heel. Well, first of all, what kind of baby face slams a 95-pound woman leading up to the,
or a 95-year-old one? Either way,
it's the same. Exactly.
Well, and notice, obviously, canned boos and cheers and whatever. When he came out, there were boos.
You stink.
It was all boos. 1989 Superstar style when Braun came out today.
Yeah. So there's that. So maybe they align Bray and Braun. My whole thing with the Bray Braun thing too is like, why is this over the Universal title? Well, now they've kind of answered that with the return of Roman, but I can't think that was their ultimate payoff 2 months ago when they started this.
They just started You'll Never See It Coming like last week. Yeah. So they must have just found out Roman was coming back.
Yeah, Roman, please come back and save this hideous angle from its existence, and we can move on. But yeah, I mean that's my guess. I mean, you have on that show. I mean, who's the top baby face right now? Daniel Bryan.
He's not even on TV. He just had a kid.
Not on TV. Okay,
he hasn't been on.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean. Is Otis the top guy? I'm asking. I don't want to.
No, the show's terrible, man.
AJ's a heel, right?
AJ's a heel. The Bro just came up. Jeff Harvey is probably, and yes, I said Harvey, is probably the number one guy.
Okay.
He just won the IC belt.
His name is Jeff Hardy.
By default, he's probably Yeah, the
Right.
main
And
dude.
he's always been like he's a much better babyface, obviously, but he's always the guy that's the IC title guy
Right.
or the US title guy because he's just not quite main event. He's
No.
just under it, you know.
Well,
and
now he's been in the freaking company for 21 years, and he's
Right.
40-something years old now. I hope you're right either way. Like, if he's heel, I'm cool with that. I don't know, but he has to have some kind of edge to him.
Yeah.
You know, I think he looks like Drew, and he needs to act like Drew. But this needs to be who he is. And if you ever see interviews with him, you know, shoot interviews or whatever, anything that's not like television where
Produced,
they're telling him
right.
what to say,
Mm-hmm.
he seems like a cool dude. And
Yep.
everybody in the back says he's awesome. And he seems like he's a dude anybody would want to hang out with. He's got to be that, man. He has
People would
to
say,
be
let
that.
him be Joe. Let him be Joe. You know, he's a
Right.
real guy and there's real personality.
Right.
So, yeah, I think, you know, if he is a heel, that's great because we haven't seen the heel since the Shield days, you know. So,
and he
that'll
never
be
talked. So,
never talked, no.
I'm interested
My
in the
guess is-
shirt,
my
though.
guess is
Wreck
he's-
everyone and leave.
I thought it was a cool shirt, you know.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. What's that mean?
Does it mean anything? A lot of times they do that, and then you find out it's never explained, so you find it didn't mean anything. It was
Right.
just, check out this cool shirt I'm going to wear. That means nothing.
Well,
That's my guess. But maybe it does. Maybe it means something. So.
Well, I don't care what anybody says. You know, I say this with a lot of guys, and I think Roman's is saying they are better with him than without him. I don't care what you think about him. If you're like my friend who just thinks he's the worst thing ever, even though he knows Vince is the one that made him say all the stupid crap and suffer and succotash and all that stuff. He thinks this guy blows, and he doesn't want to see him. Well, even so, they are better with him than without him. And I'm glad
especially
he's back.
especially SmackDown because they're lacking star power for a show that's supposed to be on their, you know, that's supposed to be their number one show now. They're on, you know, broadcast television, and they signed this $1 billion deal, and you know, so they're gonna need him. And if you look at that show, like right now, like I know that Bray is with the Fiend character. That's like their main guy on that show right now prior to Roman coming back. But look, I mean, Bray Wyatt, when he first started, that guy was money.
Yeah.
I loved him, man, until he started jobbing to every single like guy that was supposed to take him to the next level. And then it just became all platitudes. And now he's doing this supernatural goofy stuff, and it doesn't fit. I can't think that was his original vision for that character. I feel like that's a McMahon kind of interference or intervention.
I don't know. I don't know that McMahon has that much. Like, I don't know if McMahon could think of that. I mean, and the stuff they said Friday night, man, they had this thing where Braun infiltrated the Firefly Funhouse, and he beats him up. And then they come back out to the announce booth, and they're like, well, he found it. He found it somehow. We've never been able to find the funhouse because it's supernatural, and we don't know where it is. 10 seconds later, they're fighting in the hallway of the Amway Center.
Right. Clearly, it's backstage somewhere.
If you go through door number 1, you get to Raw Underground. If you go through door number 2, you get to the Firefly Funhouse.
And if you get door number 3, you're in Vince's office and you just got fired.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Like it was so bad. Like it was cringe beyond cringe, dude. Like you got to be kidding me. Plus, Seth Rollins found it one time too, and he burned it down or whatever. Like, we've not been able to find it. Holy cow. Well, apparently it's right next to where your camera is right now, because now your camera is shooting them in the hallway fighting.
Well, you know what it is? I think the announcers never actually leave the announce desk. They just
so they don't know.
Yeah, so they wouldn't know. Yeah.
But dude, and I'm going to leave everybody with this. I know a lot of people like this. I think in the last 6 months at least, if not since that Hell in a Cell match in October against Seth, the Fiend has started dipping as far as popularity goes. I just don't understand how everybody on earth, and I'm not defending this guy, but Papa Shango was the worst thing in the history of the universe, and it was the downfall of the company in 1992. And when he's making black stuff come out of the Warrior's head and his arms and all, he's puking and all this, it was the worst thing that was ever to this day happened. But they think this Bray Wyatt stuff's cool.
Or anything that the Undertaker does,
the Fiend disappearing and turning into the Fiend all of a sudden, then he's fine. And whatever he's been doing, the whole swamp match, Alexa's projected over a swamp. He drowns Bray. Bogus! That's okay in 2020. But Papa Shango's the worst thing. It's the same thing. It's the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got nothing to add.
I mean, people can disagree with me if they want, but it's the same. Bogus. I'm glad Roman killed him today. I hope he's like dead. Like, I don't want to see that guy anymore, man. I'm over it.
Take Braun with you.
Okay.
Yeah, what's with the Batman voice? I mean, good Lord.
Dude. Just ha ha ha. I'm coming for you, Bray. Okay, buddy. Anything else to add, man?
No, it was a SummerSlam, and it's over. So we move on.
I'll give him this, man. It was better than I thought it'd be. It really was. It was better than I thought. On paper, it did not look good.
In the SummerSlam.
No, it did not. I was not looking forward to watching the show, but I want to help you out. She didn't have a co-host.
Hey, my man.
Hey.
Appreciate it, buddy. Hey, we'll have to do it again.
Sounds good.
SummerSlam in the books. Roman's back. I'm actually intrigued a little bit. I will watch Friday.
I might watch Friday for the first time since I don't even know when, like March probably.
You got it.
All right,
Job,
man.
guys. And Ryan this time. Appreciate it, buddy.
For anybody, call me Roddy.
I know a lot of jobbers, so glad I know you. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Pleasure's all yours, Bucky boys.